So, okay, thank you, Vidya. Okay, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Oh, Vidya, you need to allow me to share the screen.
I'll start, and in the meanwhile, oh, we need that.
Do you see the next slide? Stop 1 minute. Okay, yeah, start at.
Sahana bhavatu, Sahano bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya tayatonmayaditaratah chatheshvabhignyam swarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo varimritam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpattyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Tato Jayamudiraye. Hari Om.
You see the book, right?
I have to check.
You'll start, Arti?
Yeah, sure. So far what we have seen, we saw the story of, how Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers to Vaikunta, to the Lord, how they are cursed, and then they take, the birth, and then we look at the birth of Hiranyaksha and how he was killed or destroyed by Lord Varaha. So with Lord Varaha was born the Yajna spirit. And what is a Yajna spirit? Whenever there is karma, there is Yajna spirit. So when a karma is performed as a Yajna, as an offering, then it is represented as Varaha. Varaha is the Yajna. Okay. So now Hiranyaksha, that was a beautiful story of how there was a fight between Hiranyaksha and Lord Varaha, and Lord Varaha has destroyed Hiranyaksha. Now we move on to the next story of Kardama. Okay, now who is Kardama and what is his story and how it is linked? We will come to it a little later in this whole flow of things. We will come to it a little later, but we will go over this story, because once we go over the story, we will have that linking of what is the continuation between the Varaha story and Kardama's story in this. Okay. So I'll start reading, Bala. Yeah. Okay. So Kardama's penance. Brahma had told his sons, Manu, Kardama, and Daksha, that they should create progenies, and they agreed to do so. Okay. Now, when Brahma, what is his job? First, we see that there is a sarga that happens. We saw how that Chaturshloki creation comes from Narayana himself. And then Narayana passes on that knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma has now started creating. Now, if Lord Brahma has now started creating, what does he need to do? He's the first Jiva. The first Jiva has been created. Now, there have to be more and more Jivas. So, his mind-born sons are Manu, Kardama is one of his, and Daksha. Okay, they are his sons, and they are given this task to go and create more and more jivas, to progenate. And Kardama proceeded to the banks of the river Saraswati, and there he spent several years performing tapas. Pleased with his devotion, Narayana appeared before him and asked him what he wanted. Kardama fell at his feet and praised him. He said, I am a fortunate man. You have appeared before me. You are the Param Brahma, and it is to realize you that tapas is performed by the great. Now, having seen you, man has no other desire in his mind. And yet, commanded as I am by my father to take up the task of creation, I am forced to ask a boon of you. I want a woman to be given to me. I want her to be the perfect woman. I will then perform my duties and make a sacrifice of my everything to you. You are the other form of time. The kingpin of that wheel of times is you, the Brahman. This wheel is made up of many parts. The spokes, which are 13 in number, are the months. The wheel has 160 parvas, days, and its rim is made up of 6 seasons. Its edge is decorated with millions of teeth, which are the moments. The rim itself is made up of 4 pieces, which represents 3 months. The speed of this wheel is terrific, and no one can withstand its power. The entire world is tied to it and rolls with it helplessly. In this mad rush, men think only of themselves and the gratification of their desires. They have no thought of you. Life ends only too soon, and it is wasted because it has achieved nothing. I think I'll stop. We will stop here, right? It's a loaded place. See, if you, just to say, I'm not sure, but even initially, when Brahma goes on to create, right? He creates first the Saptarishis, and then the Saptarishis and the Sanat Kumaras. He creates the Sanat Kumaras first. When he creates the Sanat Kumaras and he asks them to progenate, they say, we want to only do tapas. They are so close to, the source, the highest reality, the supreme reality, that they have absolutely, it is very difficult for them to come into this worldly. Imagine that now they are so much with the supreme abode that they find it very difficult to come into this worldly affairs, and they say, sorry, we have to follow this thing, but we cannot really do this because we want to just do tapas and we want to be with our with the supreme abode, and in the thoughts only of him. We do not have any we cannot go in and do these worldly matters, and we are very sorry. So then Brahma then creates the next mind sons are this Manu, Kardama and Daksha, and now their job is to procreate and have more and more children. So of that, now we are choosing Kardama. Is there anything you want to say, Bala, before? Yeah.
So that is interesting. It is also said, right, in the Purana, it is the mix of the Triguna. Okay, when that Manasika Putras, the Sanata, Sanadika, the Sanata Kumaras were so sattva, they were like, Shuddha Sattva. So they were not able to turn that Maya did not affect them. They were not able to turn away from Bhagavan. So Brahma, then they say Brahma calibrates the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas and brings that Manu, Kardama, Daksha are that right proportion maybe that he calibrates and finds out. And so the Trigunas are the ones, they say, right, which actually creates that entire not only diversity, even this, moving away from the Maya, we are at the grip of that Triguna, right? So that calibration, he finds who is now even able to step to that, something, I have something called a duty to do, So they all now the Maya, slowly the Maya starts, the grip of Maya comes into Manu, Kardama, Daksha, or every other Jiva. Okay, it is said only Brahma, Sanata Kumaras were never, did not fall into the grip of Maya because of their Shuddha Sattva. Triguna. Yeah, please continue. This is what came to me.
Yeah. So now I have no desire of my own, but since I have been given a duty now, I should go and perform, is what Kardama is telling. And he is asking, please suggest that woman to me. And then let's look at this Kala Chakra that they are talking about. So Kala Chakra is like a wheel with many spokes. Imagine a wheel with many spokes. And there is that center pin which attaches itself to the chariot or whatever. Okay, that center pin. So now that center pin is always rotating or there. Okay, it is the fulcrum. That is there, and that is Brahman. And then there are how many spokes? We have got talking about 13 months here. So these months are the lunar months. If you look at, every month we'll have 27 days or 27, 28 days if you go by lunar month, in fact. So today we do have 12 months, and then they have an adjustment of Adhika Masa at a later point in time sometimes. So then there are 13 spokes which form the months, and the wheel has 360 parvas or days. So basically parvas, it has that many slots within, and that is the number of days in a year, and is made up of 6 seasons in a year. So, and it's talking about so many minutes, and the rim itself is made up of 4 pieces, each representing 3 months. 4 pieces, we have 4 quarters in a year, right? So that is what this is. So, and they're saying time is just passing, it is rolling all around Brahman, but we forget that Brahman. It is tied, and the whole wheel is rotating around Brahman, but as we are caught in this minute and time and this season and this year, time seems to be rolling out, but we forget that fulcrum. They have no thought of you. And the time keeps going, and the time has passed, and we are still, we act like we are eternal beings. Someday, tomorrow is, we don't know. When we sleep, we wake up, we have to be grateful. We never know what happens. We see, so many sudden things happening. But we act as though, human beings act as though we are eternal beings. Time keeps rolling and we do not look at that fulcrum, the Brahman. We forget him. Anything you would like to add?
Yeah, very nice. No, this analogy of this wheel is very beautiful. See, it is interesting to see once Kardama, they all come into the Maya. What is the first thing? That I have to take up the task. Okay, the kartrutva I have to do is born. Okay, so the moment that is born, then the next step comes. Now, for that I need a few things. Mamakara. So to take up the creation, now he needs a woman, right? Who's okay? He of course asks. So it is not bad or anything. It is just that this is the basis on which this entire srishti also is functioning. Okay, this is how the srishti. And once the mamakara aham, that I am doing, that kartrutva comes, time starts. Until that, we are timeless. Okay, so the time starts once that sense of a separate from the source comes in, and the mamakara also. Now I have to do something, for whatever. So that is even we always, I think Aarti always takes that example, right? When we get up, the same sequence happens every day. We just need to watch. From the deep sleep, when we are slowly getting up, the first thing that I get is that aham, I am there, right? In the deep sleep, nothing is there. So aham comes. Maybe Brahma, I don't know. That Brahma comes out. Okay, after that, all the tasks come. What all I need to do, that karta comes. The karta is born. Okay, the moment karta is born, time starts. Okay, activities, all the activities start. So this is how it functions. The only thing here is we have to do all this. That is why yajna is also born, right? We need to remember that always. So we are in this, we are doing it, but remember the fulcrum. Okay, that is the thing, that is our, I think, our effort or whatever. The doing is actually not our effort. The remembering the fulcrum. Yeah.
So it will come eventually, actually, how Kardama understands this whole thing. Now I know I am getting into this Maya, and hence I am going to perform this duty. I want a woman to perform my duty. And once I have this kind of a desire, because even if it is by kartrutva bhava, then there is going to be, I am going to be caught in this wheel of this Kala Chakra. Okay. So you want to read now, Mala?
I am, alas, one of the many who want something worldly out of you. Kardama is talking to Lord Narayana. But then, please grant me non-attachment to the objects of the world. Please make me efficient enough to perform dispassionately the duties imposed on me by Father and also by your words, the Vedas. Make it possible for me to abandon the world for your sake whenever I want to. Grant me this boon. This is something very beautiful, right? We need to do at the same time. We need to be in that, thing where whenever we will be able to just let it go and, go back to the source. That means there's no attachment at all, no pain, nothing. Always that ripe fruit is there. So that is very nice. Narayana smiled on his devotee and said, I know what is in your mind. I know that you will live in this world in karma like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. I have already chosen a wife for you. I am well pleased with you and your devotion. In 2 days' time, Manu, the emperor of the world, will come to you with his wife Shatarupa. They will come here with the intention of giving their daughter Devahuti to you. She will be the ideal wife for you. She will be the mother of 9 daughters, and these daughters will marry the rishis, Marichi, and others. Thus will your father's commands be obeyed by you. And in the end, since I am pleased with you, I will be born to you as your son. I will then establish Sankhya philosophy on earth. The Lord vanished from that spot, and Kardama waited for the coming of Manu.
So just to go back to that thought of Kardama, how we perform, I wanted to dwell on that a little further, how we perform our actions, being completely involved in that worldly, because only then we can do justice. But yet, no, at the end of it, no, it is absolutely like performing your role on the stage. Say you are in a play. You have taken a certain character, a role that you have to play. You go there and very authentically rehearse the lines, play the part beautifully, be there on the sets with total involvement. But at no point do you forget who you really are. I am Aarti, but I'm playing the role of this. So that is the dispassion that is being spoken about here, Kardama. So because we get lost in it now. We forget that our role, what we are, and then one of the areas that I thought was very relevant is for us to even see our passion or dispassion with connection or deep, attachment to our kids or some family or our husband or our parents or whatever that is. We are all here to perform a certain role according to the Kala Chakra, the grand wheel, something. We are here because of our own vasanas to perform the role. But if we can remember that we are only performing the role, say the child has come only through me and he is a child of the universe or she is the child of the universe, and at the right time, let go. Okay, and not hold on, but we do hold on because we are still in the, in the hold of Maya. We forget that I am a separate human being. I am a separate jiva. This one is a separate jiva, and or even my husband. So all our anxiety and control and all that comes because we have disassociated ourselves from our fulcrum, and we forget who we really are, and we get more entangled with our role. And we start thinking we are that role and giving a lot as though we are the doership and huge burden. If I don't do, nothing can happen. We start feeling that way. So that is when we are entangled or overly attached. So Kardama is saying there is a possibility for that. So even before stepping in, he is saying, please give me the boon that when my job is done, I still have that dispassion in me, that now is the time for me to let go. And I should easily be able to move away after I have performed my duties and come back to you. Ma'am, how to know how well we have performed our worldly duties? Is it in compliance with? We just perform and surrender. Well or not, he will decide. We just do as best as we can, as our mind or as we are guided through our own mind in our own best way. We will be guided through our asanas, whatever. We just do whatever and then surrender everything to the Almighty. So when we say do your best, it is not the best something outside. It is your involvement and your sincere efforts. That is all.
Yeah. So yeah, correct. Doing best, many times, yeah, we think what are the guidelines as we have so much ignorance. See, the thing is, that is why we have all the sadhana. The more we are tuned with our antaryaman, yes, we will be able to just perform our duty the best way with awareness. While doing, okay, when I am identifying not as the doer, okay, I am performing it because it is needed at that time, guided by the antaryaman within. Okay, it takes time. Okay, this is a perfect that I'm talking about. Okay, the perfect way how great Yanis do their actions. Okay, how maybe Kardama also did because he was blessed like that from Lord Narayana. So when that happens, then there is absolutely no, that is the best way for a karma to happen. That is why Krishna says, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, which means that in that state of yoga, when there is no ego at all, when there is no self-driven desire, okay, when there is no mamakara, mine, I'm doing this because she is my daughter, okay, I'm doing this, whatever, all those things. So that mamakara does not come in, my kartrutva does not come in, yes, and in that way, when we are able to perform whatever is needs to be done, then that itself is a state of yoga, and that is the skillful way of doing it. Karmasu kaushalam. Kaushalam does not mean the efficiency in the work that we usually see outside. It is when the prarabdha, whatever the vasanas are there, when they are just getting burnt as the work is happening, and there are no new karmas that are getting added. So that is the ideal way of doing it. So how do we do it? That is why we have all these sadhana. We say Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, devoid of doership.
Doership, ahankara.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? When there is no doership, there is no question. Yesterday, there was an interesting conversation with my friends. Then we kind of, it came out. There's absolutely nothing called perfection. Why am I looking at perfection? There is a very strong doership there. Okay, there is no perfection at all. There is no question of saying, oh, am I a perfect mother? Okay, where is the perfection? What am I seeking there? I have my own definition of perfect, right? I'm trying to match it always. And there is a very strong doership there. I am doing. Okay, the I has to be just removed. Initially, we can even do it as a very mechanical practice, but slowly it comes. So that doership needs to be completely, that is why it is said every act that I do, arpana, okay, with whatever limited intelligence I have done. This is, so please, I am putting this at your feet. You have to guide. So with this limit, it could be wrong. It need not be ideal, but I'm putting it at his feet. And slowly, the more that tuning to Antaryaman is there, we receive guidance from him. Okay, so that is, so there is no guilt, there is no, that ego, whatever, that never comes in. Okay, whatever best has happened, that is why that Gita Upadesha is there, right? I don't know where it is there, but we keep hearing that. Whatever has happened is the best that would have happened. Whatever is happening is the best that is happening. Whatever will happen is the best that will happen. So I think that thing, when that is there, when there is no ankar mamkara, and when we do it with arpana and take it as prasada. So that again, that 4 pillars of karma, if we can go over, that is a fantastic thing. Okay, the one is kartavya nirvahanam. Okay, there is a kartavya. That's why we are here, we are born. So that we have to take it up and do it. Kartavya nirvahanam. Samyak acharanam. Okay, we need to do it with complete involvement, like that actor, in the play. Do it with complete involvement. So when we are doing this, remember Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Okay, as this is happening, putting this at your feet. Arpana Buddhi. Whatever results come, the result is for the work, not for the worker. The result is for the for the job, not for the one, the doer, right? So Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. So whatever, so these four are the pillars of how I can work. What we work, what work I do, doesn't matter. I can be sweeping the floor or I can be giving some talk, some presentation somewhere, doesn't matter. But these four are the basic pillars that Krishna has given us. So if we remember this, we will know which is the what they say, Naham Karta, Hari Karta, Naham Bhokta, Hari Bhokta. I am not the Karta, Hari is the Karta. I am not the Bhokta, Hari is the Bhokta. Okay? Because who is this I? I don't even know. Let me better search for this I rather than looking out for things from outside.
See, there is a reason the four principles. You want to tell that before I go on?
Which one?
She said, can you repeat the four principles, please?
So, Kartavya Nirvahanam. Okay, do the duty. Samyak Acharanam. Do it in the best possible way, meaning with full involvement. With the limited intelligence that I have, with that I do. Samyak Acharanam. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Complete Arpanam to Ishvara, whatever I am doing, while doing. Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. So the results, whatever comes, is take it as prasad.
So for us to understand that every person who has come in my life, whether it is my child, this we have told many times, but it helps when it is put in context, right? So they are in my life because of a certain design of our vasanas and their vasanas and everything. So we have all chosen all these people. So, and whatever we perform through our vasanas, it may be, even though it may look bad to us, it may be good. We don't know. It has to happen. It just has to happen. It is happening. Okay. So instead of taking too much guilt, instead of taking too much responsibility, our only job, instead of taking too much responsibility, so when I take responsibility, I have regrets, I have guilts, I have this and that. The only thing I need to regret is whether I am looking outwards or I'm looking inwards. That's all. Okay. And remind myself to keep looking inwards. That is that's my only job. The more I keep looking inwards, then the mamakara, the hankara, all of that drop. You just work with absolute dedication and do it, and just keep turning inwards.
Aarti, can I speak?
Yeah. Okay, Tejas.
Yeah, but it's not so easy to be introverted always when you're in a group of, Rajasic people, and they need explanations. They need us to be giving opinions, and like arguments have to happen. But even then, we have to be centered, right? Like,
go through that motion like a role you're playing, and then center yourself if it is needed afterwards. Even that is fine. Just about going through that motion, whatever is needed at that point in time, whenever you remember, center yourself.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do. We are all in the grip of Maya. So Allah, that's okay. But just when we remember as quickly as possible, return to that center. It's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. We are talking about Kardama, who is like the mind child, the second level. We are, but it's a part of the thing. And when we have such a high goal, right, like a Kardama, even if we make this much of a change, it can be a huge change for us. They say if you aim
that Krishna says that.
No, when we just center ourselves and we don't want to take guilt, we are silent. We are labeled as arrogant. I don't know what all. That's the other person's maybe this thing, not our problem.
Are we centered or are we just silent? That also matters. So many things. But right? Are we centered or are we? And what is happening on the other side? That
The
is
other
their
side
job,
is not in our control. So
not in our control. We
Yeah.
can't take too much responsibility for other people's lives, but we can try our best and we can share what we have learned. That's the best we can do.
okay, thanks.
So it never becomes suppression, huh? If we are able to put really surrender it at his feet. But it is a long-term practice. Long-term practice.
It is a tapas, ma. It is a tapas. Even Vishwamitra loses it, right? He keeps doing his tapas, and then once he falls for lust.
Yes.
And then all his tapas is lost, and then he again does tapas. Next, he falls for anger. Next, he feels, okay, I have conquered anger and this thing, and he becomes arrogant. So he tries to create the Trishanku Swarga, and again he uses all that tapas power that he got from tapas for the wrong purpose. Again, he falls. We learn, but you have to progress. That's it. Am I getting better? Am I getting better? We just keep moving. We keep doing. The idea is not to become not to become complacent and say this is how it is. It's not about tamasik. It is sattva movement happening towards the inner self. Gently, I'm working on it like a child getting up, falling, getting up, falling, getting up. That's it.
Yeah.
See, it is also long. I don't know if we have seen that that vasana. We can't show that slide here. No, I don't have it. See, what happens, just to go a little dwell more on this, whether it is suppression or so. Initially, it may look like suppression. Something happens, I am silent. I may not even know what is happening, but give it time. Okay, initially it may look like suppression, but slowly, when I am able to remember that Lord, yes, that is the key. Okay, suppression happens when just the other part of the mind is talking and saying this is correct, this is wrong, morally I am doing something wrong, those kind of things. When it comes from my own limited intellect, and when I stop myself, then suppression happens. Even when that happens, that is different, that's okay. But just directly talk to Bhagavan and completely surrender it at his feet. This is what I know, this is what I have done, and I am with all these faults. Okay, this is something I find individually very empowering. Okay, I am with all these faults, and so I am just surrendering all this to you. Your responsibility to pull me out of these faults, also your responsibility to correct me also. When we do it sincerely, then you actually open up, the mind opens up, and we are able to see the corrections coming from different directions. Bhagavan, it's not that he always comes in the form of, it comes as a WhatsApp message, it comes as somebody, while someone is talking, they say something and that suddenly connects to us. And someone, what we are listening to, and then suddenly the answer comes to us that way. So he comes through many things. Some book I read, I get the answer. So the mind opens up. So this is what happens when I surrender and say, oh, you have to help. Cry to him, shout at him, show the anger to. That's why they say, put your emotions to him. Why I am like this, you have to change me. So everything, when we put at his feet, okay, it actually starts happening beautifully. And I think we need to try that, being in this Bhagavatam where Krishna is guiding each and every. So put it at his feet and we see him giving us signals, and he opens our eyes to see that. That is the beauty. It was there all the time. He opens our eyes to see that, and from then on we are able to slowly correct ourselves. And the correction would be in such a, that's why they say, Krishna says, little bit you try. Swalpam assi dharmasya. A little bit. Trayato trayate mahato bhayat, I think. I will protect you in a much bigger way than you can actually imagine. So what he gives is much, much than what I can imagine. So what I need to do is, with complete Shraddha, you have your doubts, ask him the doubt. Am I suppressing? I don't know. Okay, am I doing this? Whatever comes to your mind, talk to him. And you will see him opening your mind. You will see him, entering. So we have to completely, the only thing that we need to do is forget that I have to find solution for the problem. I cannot.
Even telling I am I suppressing? There is a mamakara, there is a ahankara. Am I the doer? It is there, right? Just to even thinking when I'm saying, am I suppressing or am I holding? So the idea is to find him between your thoughts. We are always focusing on our thoughts, but there is a gap. Focus more on the gap and find him there, instead of focusing more on the thoughts itself. It is the thoughts which propels everything. But when there is the gap between the thoughts, that gap, you grab his feet. In that gap, oh please, I am somewhere immersing in these thoughts. Like that Mandhara, it is just going on now. Please hold his feet and say, please get me out of this sinking feeling, or these doubts, or these analysis paralysis that I'm going through, whatever of conflict that I am having. Please get me out.
Yes, thank you.
Ramakrishna, that's why he said.
Suppression sometimes maybe will outburst with more rigor than growing.
And that happened. You understand that you have suppressed.
Yeah.
Tell him that, oh Lord, thank you so much for showing me that I have suppressed. Okay. So slowly, instead of one part of the mind, of my own mind, talking to the other part of my own mind, let the mind talk to Bhagwan. It works very well. That happens when I'm able to find in the gap. The more sadhana we do, I think we need to regularly, whatever sadhana we do, be it a japa or a meditation or pranayama or yoga, what you do, I think having the time for myself in a day, this is a true me time. I think that we need to really hold on and do. Only then that gap we can hold. Otherwise, it is very difficult to get that gap and take his feet.
Okay. We'll go with the story now.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay. Read out.
Narayana smiled on his devotee and said, I know what is in your mind. I know that you will live in this world in karma like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. How beautiful. Drop of that it cannot stick onto that leaf at all, right? That drop of water, it will slide down when it is time. I have already chosen a wife for you. I am well pleased with you and your devotion. In 2 days' time, Manu, the emperor of world, will come to you. We read this part. And I will be born to you as your son. I will then establish Sankhya philosophy on the earth. Now, Sankhya philosophy is a philosophy of jnana. So what do we see is getting born? The first one was yajna, based on karma. And now the jnana is getting born through the son of Kardama, who will give Sankhya philosophy on earth. Will be the jnana part, right? That is being given. So the Lord vanished from the spot and Kardama waited for the coming of Manu. Kardama's ashrama was so situated that the river Saraswati flowed on either side of it. There was a small lake by the side of the ashrama, which was filled with sweet, clear water. Flowering trees and trees which bore fruits were growing on all sides of the ashrama, and the air around was always scented. It was a holy spot and made all the more so because the Lord had visited it. It became known as Bindu Saras because tears from the eyes of Narayana had fallen there. Tears of joy which he shed when he saw the devotion of his bhakta. Can we move forward?
Yeah. Yeah. So this tears. See, this is something very beautiful. Okay. Are you able to hear me? It says low resources. Okay. So a holy spot. We have seen this tirtha, many times. How a place becomes very holy. Okay. So it is. Why has Vedavyasa given all this? It became known as Bindu. Tears from the eyes of Narayana had fallen there. For someone who is so, I think, where the heart is more, we have this head and heart, right? Where someone who is so emotional, when we go to that place, we very easily connect to Bhagavan in that place. Automatically, when you go somewhere where they say, oh, Krishna has walked there, you go to Vrindavan. There is so much of love for Krishna already in my mind, isn't it? And when you go there and you actually see the streets and you are going back to that yuga, living those things where Krishna, oh, he walked here. So what happens? The more and more that bhakti in us, grows. That's the entire idea we saw, right, in the very beginning. When sage Narada tells Vedavyasa, you have to dedicate an entire Purana for bhakti. And that is how Vedavyasa starts writing Bhagavatam. So every little, even little lines that are there here is to bring that bhakti bhava in each one of us. So I think we must really tune ourselves to that and experience that bhakti bhava. And it is so beautiful. It became known as Bindusaras because tears from Narayana had fallen there. See, Bhagwan himself melts, right? Completely melts, looking at the sincere bhakta, looking at his sincere bhakta. Tears of joy which he shed when he saw the devotion of his bhakta. So, bhakti is something we cultivate. It doesn't come.
Yeah. By
Okay.
listening,
Yes.
by practicing humility. There are many ways. By understanding that we are such a small spot in this larger, it could be in many different ways, right? I mean, the creation, just what a magnificent creation, and I am such a small thing. I mean, that's a form of bhakti. So then you have that feeling that I am, how much part am I playing? That mamakara, ahankara really shrinks when I think of this bigger universe. Or just cultivate it by reminding ourselves of this again and again, that everything is just him. He is working through us. It's not me. So much is happening in the universe, which is not definitely by me. So I am also part of this universe, which means everything's are happening. I am also happening only in this universe. And so the only thing we are trying to reduce is that conflict within us. To find that peace. When we understand, when we are completely surrendered to him, there is shanti within, no? Everything that is happening, everything, whatever is happening, it's not a sense of complacency. There is a difference. It's a sense of surrender, acting, but knowing that everything is him. And that bhakti is, and when you have that kind of bhakti, even for your relatives, for your child, when you express that deep fondness for them, how they connect with you. Like that, when we express the deep fondness, how he's saying, no, I don't know, I'm doing my duty, so I am moving away from you. But immediately after this duty is done, I want to come back to you. Okay, such bhakti, Narayana is obviously very, very impressed by that kind of bhakti. And
saw this through Shukamuni. When he was born, he also asked the same thing.
Yeah.
When Jaya Vijaya, right? They chose to be killed by Bhagavan. Okay, right? Because Bhagavan gave them a choice also. We saw 6 births where they'll be good, divine, what do you say, bhaktas. Or 3 births where they'll forget completely about bhakti and all that. But they'll be given, redeemed by Bhagavan only. So they chose 3 because for them, the faster they finish it and come back, that was more important. So their connection with that, like the umbilical cord, it is
They
true,
didn't
true.
think, what if the world thought so badly about us?
All that
Because the
doesn't-
world is Maya, they know that is more important. I want to go back to him more.
Yes. So the one of the very, very beautiful thing of bhakti is, I am not at all important. I am not at all there. Only Bhagavan is important. Okay, that we all know the story of that Gopika, right? Radha, when I just think we can revel on that story. Bhagavan Krishna, Narada comes and says, right, what, I may change the story a little bit, background, I don't know. So you say Gopikas are, the greatest bhaktas. Narada says something like that, I think. Then Krishna says, okay, Narada, I have, severe headache. And my headache will go only when the dust from the feet of my bhakta is applied on my head. Okay, this is what Krishna says. So Narada, he thinks what to do. He says, now you go to Vrindavan and ask Gopikas. Then you will know. So Narada goes and he goes to the Vrindavan and he asks the Gopikas, Krishna is having very bad headache. And he says only from the dust of the feet from a devotee, when that is applied on Krishna, his headache will go away. So immediately all of them, they just take the dust from their feet and give it to Narada. Narada in fact says, oh, you are giving, do you even know what you're doing? From the feet, from your feet, this dust, if I go, and you will not even get Vaikuntha. Okay, you will go to hell. Do you remember? Do you even know what you're doing? This is what Narada was saying. And Gopika said that doesn't matter at all to us. We can go to hell, wherever we go, doesn't matter. Krishna must not have headache. His headache must go away. So I am not great. I am nothing. He is, if at all someone is there, it is only him, and he is great. He is Bhagavan. So that was the kind of true bhakti that Gopikas, Narada himself could have given, no? He thought he was a great bhakta, but he did not give because that nobody wants to get that sin of giving their dust to their feet, dust to that to be applied on Krishna's forehead. So this just shows how there's absolutely no ego at all. The complete, so Gopikas is the highest bhakta because there is absolutely no individual identification. The only identification is Bhagavan. Complete identification with Bhagavan is ultimate bhakti.
Yep. We'll move on, I think, to the next.
Yes, the coming of Devahuti. Swayambhu Manu, in the meantime, was traveling fast towards the Bindusaras. With him was his wife Shatarupa and his daughter Devahuti. He had brought costly silks and jewels with him, and he traveled towards the ashrama. Soon he reached the holy spot. Followed by his servants, who were carrying his gifts, Manu entered the ashrama of Kardama and walked towards him. Kardama had just completed the worship of the fire. He was himself glowing like fire because of the spiritual awakening in him following the sight of the Lord. Manu was pleased to see that he was very handsome and that he had eyes which were gentle and full of compassion. Manu went and prostrated at the feet of Kardama. Kardama blessed him and offered him arkya, padya, and other customary things offered to a guest. He honored Manu since he was a monarch. Manu received them all with humility and sat at the feet of the rishi. Kardama spoke sweetly to him about the welfare of his kingdom and the happiness of the people under his rule. He said, I am honored by the visit of such an illustrious person like you. You are the monarch of the world, and you have come to my humble cottage. I honor you because you are the image of Narayana. A king is said to be the Lord himself. He is said to be the sun, the moon, fire, Indra, Vayu, Yama, Dharma, Varuna, and Narayana. By his prowess, he becomes like a sun. He pleases by the sweetness on his face, and thus he resembles the moon. His power is so great that ordinary mortals cannot approach him, and that is where he resembles Agni, the fire. He rains riches and prosperity on the kingdom he rules, and so a king is said to be like Indra. He should know the innermost thoughts of those who are around him, like the air Vayu, which can enter everywhere. Destruction of evil is his role, like that of Yama, and protecting the good, like Dharma. His dignity and innate greatness are like those of Varuna, and he is the representative of Narayana on earth. This is the reason why a king should be honored like he is a divine being. So much here. We'll stop here, no, Aarti?
Yeah.
So what will your Sanskrit do, Renuka? Let us say.
Remembering of Rama only. You know, my God, everything he was like what is told here. Exactly.
And also, this may look at, I keep trying to bring it to our day-to-day, this thing. One way is bhakti, another is to see the Lord in everybody. When somebody comes, what do we see? Right? He's saying, you know, all the Devi qualities is what he's even seeing. When we see, we are caught with such the outward or whatever, right? But to really go in and be able to see that greatness in the person, what I have consistently noticed is in all the Bhagavatam and everything that we have been reading so far in all the Puranas, when anybody meets somebody, or even in the Devi Bhagavatam, the first thing, there is a lot of seeing that that greatness in the person and expressing that freely. You know, that is one wonderful way to create that bond. What are those qualities that I see in the other person or in God? So because we saw, right, as my thoughts, so the creation of my world around me. So when my thoughts are either of a superhuman or you know, it's all positive, when I am seeing all the wonderful qualities, and especially if I keep remembering the beautiful qualities of the Lord himself at all point in time, in some ways, because that itself becomes like a tapasya, remembering the great qualities, and we imbibe those qualities. Because those qualities are also there within us. What am I giving the focus to? And the more the divine, the qualities of Narayana, and I invoke him and I remember his pastimes and I remember his qualities through those pastimes, those qualities actually get powered within me. It's not something new that I'm taking. It's there. It's just getting powered within me. So I see that consistently with whenever anybody meets anybody, there is this wonderful outpour of great qualities of that person. Right? I think that's a beautiful quality to imbibe also, to see the greatness, to find that way of finding that greatness in everybody, because there is that greatness in everybody.
And connecting that to Bhagwan.
And connecting that to Bhagwan.
That is very important. The connecting that to the divine. And so that's when we actually see the divine. They say, no, don't get carried away by the instrument. Be it this instrument or any other instrument. Okay, remember, he is working through the instrument. It's very beautiful here. Yeah, everywhere in Vedavyasa, Narayana meet, Parikshit.
Yeah, consistently we would see them. The first meeting, person will talk very highly, all the beautiful qualities, bring out all of those things, very. And the other person, if you see the Asuric quality, they'll be talking about, I am the king of the three worlds. Exactly the opposite. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Identifying with me.
Me.
That becomes an Asuric.
Yes.
That is.
We will be looking at the Sankhya philosophy in a little more detail eventually.
Yeah, that will come. Yes. Okay. We'll go on. You want to continue?
So as for the reason which prompted you to come to this hermitage, I assure you, try my best to please you. Embarrassed by the words of praise which Kardama had spoken. That is one's humility now. If you praise the wrong kind of person, they will get even more bloated. But when praise is offered to the right person, there is humility automatically. Right? So embarrassed by the words of praise which Kardama had spoken, Manu spoke humbly. He said, you have been born from the face of the Lord to propagate tapas, knowledge, selflessness, detachment. We Kshatriyas have been born of the arms of the Lord to protect great souls like you and to help you propagate the lessons you have learned. We protect each other, and when you say that you are pleased with my rule, I consider it my great good fortune that I have been able to please you. Compassionate as you are sure to listen to my words and grant me what I ask for. So returning the greatness, it's not just me, you are telling, so that I am very pleased. Right? I have 5 children. Uttanapada, Priyavrata are my sons, and my daughters are Akuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti. Being the father of daughters is a very difficult state. I am worried as to who will be the fit person to marry my daughters. So this is my daughter, Devahuti. My daughter Devahuti has heard about you and your glory from Narada. And ever since then, she has set her heart on you. She has chosen you as her Lord. Lord Narayana has also instructed me to approach you with this request. I am therefore asking you to grant me my wish. Please accept this child of mine and honor me.
So beautifully, what is the best work to do? Something like that, no? How do we know if I'm doing the right thing or something like that we were discussing? So we see here such two great, Manu and Kardama, beautifully conversing with each other, who are so much connected to that center and working, right? And they are being guided by Narada, Narayana, all that inner guidance to what to do. So very clear, right? So Kardama was also waiting that Manu would come. Narayana has already given him that. And Manu at the right time comes. And he has been, he has received the inner guidance from Narada. It's not like something outside which is there. It's all the inner guidance, right? So he has received that and he comes and great things happen. So it is beautiful to see the way Bhagavan works through all of them. And so this is the best way of doing it. So there is no mamakara or my whatever. They are doing it as per that inner torch, that inner guide which is there. One thing here which came is, Manu says, right, we Kshatriyas have been born of the arms of the Lord to protect great souls like you and to help you propagate the lessons you have learned. So very beautifully here, we protect each other. So this here, it is the point that, each of us are dependent. We are not independent beings. Each of us functionally, okay, we are dependent in this world on each other. Okay, for even survival of this body, we all know, right? We are not separate. So that is brought out very beautifully here. It is said, right? The Kshatriyas were created from the arms of the Lord. The Vaishyas were created from the, I think we must take this up maybe if need be. The Vaishyas were created from the stomach. Yeah. Brahmanas from the head and Shudras from the legs. So somehow there is no superiority or inferiority here. Everything is part of the Lord. We all are part of Bhagavan. So it shows that for a society to function, all the four are needed, right? The Brahmana, the intelligence part. For the body to function, we need the intelligence, the head, right? We need the arms to work. We need the stomach, meaning something which will for the prosperity, you can say, or for the the food, for nourishment. All that is this entire stomach area. So we need that also for the body to digest everything, and from there only the entire food is given to all the cells of the body. And the thighs are also needed for us so that the body can actually stand. Otherwise, it can't even stand. So each of this, each of these have their own responsibility, and each of these work, be it the thighs or the abdomen or the chest or the, what do you say, the arms or the head. Yeah? And all of them make the body. So that analogy is given in, I think, even Purusha Suktam, it is there. So it is like everything is an important part, and we all work together. And there is always a give and take.
Is there any part that we can say we don't need? Can I do without the stomach? Can I do without my feet? Can I do without my, the head or the hands? Can I say this is more important than the other one? Only if all of these are functioning, can I function in a wholesome way?
Yes, only then the Virat works. We saw, no, Virat. We all are that small cells. And this entire gross form is the Virat. So only then the Virat is, so we all are somewhere being his part and serving without the Kartritva. Yeah.
So she has chosen you as her Lord. Lord Narayana has also instructed me. So I have not come because I want but it is because Lord Narada has come and spoken about you to Devahuti, and so she wants to now marry you, and then Narayana has also spoken to me. Kardama said, I have been thinking of marriage since some time now. Your daughter, you say, has chosen me as her husband. I am happy to accept her as my wife. She is beautiful and she does but eclipse the glow of the jewels she is wearing. But I must tell you something before I accept her. I will live with her in the Grihasthashrama, married state, until she becomes the mother of my children. After that, I will leave her in order to perform tapas and reach the Lord. A man who has followed the three ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grihastha and Vanaprastha, must become a sannyasi and renounce his wife, his home and his children. This is my intention. Okay, he has already told. He had sought the boon from the Lord, and now he is also telling it right now that once my duty is performed, I will go on sannyasa because I will want to. And they are also bringing out the 4 ashramas here right now, reminding us of the 4 ashramas. I think Prabha had once spoken very beautifully about how to practice the ashramas in today's days as well. It's not like we go to a forest, take sannyasa, but in a way we really renounce the, when we go on a vanaprastha or something, it's a way of saying, okay, now the younger generation, they will handle their lives, and I move away, reduce my worldly commitments, worldly engagements as much as possible, so that I can keep my mind on the Lord internally. Manu and Shatarupa then gave their daughter Devahuti in marriage to Kardama, leaving her behind with her husband in the picturesque spot. So now Manu and Shatarupa were kings, Kshatriyas at that point. They were protectors. But right there, they married. No pomp and show. They knew they are doing it out of dharma. And they have offered their daughter. In Bindusaras, the emperor returned to his city, which was called Barhishmati. The city was a holy spot. It was here that the sacred Varaha, while sniffing around for the earth, had shed some of the hair from his body. Out of the hair grew grass by name Kusha and Kasha. The official name for this grass is Barhis, and the city was thus named Barhismati. Manu had performed a yajna on this spot with his barhis spread on the yajna vedi, and this was in the name of Adi Varaha. The land which was sanctified thus was named Brahmavarta. It is time.
Yeah, I think.
Anything that's coming to your mind before we close?
No, the same thing, no? Today, 2 times we have seen how the Tirtha, the holy spot. One more here because his hair. There, Narayana's drop, and here,
His hair.
Yeah. I think the gist of today's class is what is coming. Yes, the 4 things, the karma, doing it as a narpana and doing it well with complete involvement, completely offer it to Bhagwan and take whatever comes as prasad. That one, and being in tune with our Antaryaman all the time, so that there is guidance from within for us to do whatever has to be done with less conflict. That's all. Anyway. So that is one thing. Whatever comes to your mind also share. So these were the kind of points that I think we discussed. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's all about Mamakara, Ahamkara. Drop it and stay with him. I'll close the session. We will chant Om Namo Narayanaya 16 times, and then we will close. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Asato Ma Satgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhad Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.